Number one weirdest thing that happened. I had like 80 texts when I woke up sending me this article from Rolling Stone. It says, Trump White House pressured Disney to censor Jimmy Kimmel. Now, it's for Trump, you know, if you want to come on the show to tell me to be quiet yourself, we still have that arcade claw machine the My Pillow guy got in. You can climb inside and say whatever's on your delicate little mind, okay? Hi, we represent Donald Trump. We were wondering if you could, hello? I mean, who would have ever guessed that a hard-earned reputation for not ever paying your bills would make it difficult to get credit? And
Get ready for some wild drama because things just got heated between Trump and Jimmy Kimmel. Yep, you heard it right. There's been a slap and a tantrum fit involved. So, what's the scoop? Well, it seems like tensions reached their boiling point, and things got physical between the former president and the late-night host. Get your popcorn ready because this showdown is one you won't want to miss.
Company that owns ABC, our network, and Jimmy Kimmel is me, so obviously I was interested in seeing what it was, but...
President Donald Trump was apparently furious over Jimmy Kimmel's TV jokes, so much so that he allegedly instructed White House officials to silence the late-night host. Rolling Stone revealed that there were at least 2 phone calls made to a senior Disney executive urging action against Kimmel in 2018. Disney, the parent company of ABC, which airs Jimmy Kimmel Live, was reportedly contacted to address the situation.
The story, in 2018, Donald Trump, who was at that time president of the United States, was so upset about my jokes that I made about him, he directed his staffers at the White House to call Disney to tell them to rein me in. At least 2 calls were made from the Trump White House to, quote, convey the president's anger regarding Kimmel's monologues and jabs. In other words, President Karen demanded to speak to my manager. I think the guy who fathered Eric and Don Jr. would know how to handle jokes, but I guess not. The article says news of these calls spread around the corridors of power in Washington. Wow, what a plot twist.
The ex-president was incredibly angered by the late-night host's mockery of him, prompting him to direct his staff to take action. In early 2018, the American national security apparatus was fixated on reports that North Korea was building nuclear weapons that could reach the U.S., or that Russia was plotting chemical weapons assassinations in Europe. Meanwhile, President Donald Trump was busy targeting his idea of an enemy of the state: late-night host Jimmy Kimmel. According to 2 former officials from the Trump administration, the then-president was deeply upset by Kimmel's comedic jabs, leading him to instruct his White House staff to contact one of Disney's top executives in Washington, D.C. to express his grievances and demand action.
The first time Donald Trump ever tries to stop someone from talking about him on television, and it's me.
During at least 2 separate phone conversations that took place around the end of Trump's first year in office, the White House conveyed the extent of his anger towards Kimmel to Disney, as reported by ex-officials to Rolling Stone. Trump's staff emphasized that the president wanted the billion-dollar company to rein in the ABC host who was critical of Trump. One former senior administration official characterized Kimmel's actions as very dishonest and claimed that Trump felt Kimmel was engaging in behavior that he would have previously taken legal action against.
The article says news of these calls spread around the corridors of power in Washington. Wow, what a plot twist. The first time Donald Trump ever tries to stop someone from talking about him on television, and it's me.
The incident was so peculiar that news of it quickly circulated around the corridors of power in Washington, D.C. Even administration officials who were not involved in the pressure campaign started hearing from their contacts at Disney. They were puzzled by the repeated messages from the White House, stating that Trump wanted Kimmel to ease up on his anti-Trump humor. At least 1 call was made to Disney that I know of, a 3rd former official who worked in the Trump White House recalls. Sources spoke to Rolling Stone on the condition of anonymity in order to speak freely and to preserve ongoing relationships in Trump world and conservative circles. I do not know to whom, but it happened. Nobody thought it was going to change anything, but DJT was focused on it, so he had to do something. It was doing something, mostly to say to Trump, "Hey, we did this." Jimmy Kimmel didn't hold back when addressing these statements on his show. He humorously remarked that he usually had to pay for this type of entertainment. With his trademark wit, he turned the situation on its head, poking fun at the idea that the president would be concerned about jokes made at his expense. Kimmel's response added another layer of humor to the already bizarre situation, leaving his audience in stitches.
Usually when he wants somebody to stop talking about him, he pays them $130,000, but he wanted me to do it for nothing. I wonder what it was specifically that sparked his Trumper tantrum. I wonder what it was he found so objectionable. I don't know. Maybe it was the time I had Stormy Daniels look at a plate of carrots and to size them up, and she picked the little one. Nicknames I was going through Tanny Soprano, Nostradamus, Emperor Palpatine Hands, Mar-a-Lardo, King Tutankhamun, the Hydroxy Horror Picture Show, Pumpkin McCornhumper, Grab-Ass Grandpa, Orange Julius Caesar, Caludicrous, Flabios, Freddy Krueger, the Tandalorian, Liger Woods, QAnon, Dictator Tot. Give me, I only have 100 more, okay? Quid Pro Comb Over, Uncle Scam, Fibonacci, the One Terminator, Chocolate Mussolini, YMCA Hole, the Recount of Monte Cristo, Daddy Bone Spurs, or George Washington, maybe that was the...
Rolling Stone uncovered one target of the White House's clumsy, ultimately futile pressure campaign: former Disney top lobbyist Richard Bates. Sources reveal that Trump's staff contacted Bates to relay the president's frustration regarding Kimmel's monologues and jabs. Bates, a prominent Disney executive and a fixture in Washington for over 30 years, sadly passed away in December 2020.
Fragile little snowflake. What a blowhard. He's a blowhard and a snowflake. He's a blowflake is what he is. He changed the hats to say Make America Wine Again, MAWA, because when you think of all the people I regularly make fun of, it's a lot of people. The only two who've tried to stop me are Donald Trump and Marjorie Taylor Greene, who actually called the cops on me. I made fun of OJ 1,000 times. He hasn't tried to kill me once. This guy, Donald Trump, all he does is make fun of. He makes fun of disabled journalists. He calls our veterans prisoners of war, even losers. He insults his opponents, his friends, his family. But if I point out that he's so fat they renamed the plane Air Force Wonder Bread, I'm the bad guy all of a sudden?
Despite its efforts, the pressure campaign ultimately fell short. However, this previously undisclosed endeavor serves as another example of Trump's willingness to exploit the vast powers of his office for personal gain and trivial reasons. Addressing the situation on his show, Jimmy Kimmel didn't miss a beat in injecting humor. With his trademark wit, he quipped that perhaps Trump's wife slept in another room because she couldn't contain her laughter at his monologues. The audience erupted in laughter at Kimmel's playful jab, turning the spotlight on the absurdity of the situation. His lighthearted response added a refreshing dose of levity to the tension surrounding the failed pressure campaign.
This is why Donald and Melania sleep in separate bedrooms. She was laughing too hard at my monologue at night.
As Trump resumes his White House campaign, there's no indication that his inclination to wield federal power in such a manner has diminished. In a recent radio interview, the former president asserted his entitlement to a revenge tour should he win the presidency in 2024, while simultaneously stating that he wouldn't pursue such a course of action if reelected.
What a blatant abuse of power. I wonder if Fox News, they're always screaming about censoring comedians. Will they defend me on this? I doubt it.
Despite making numerous statements about free speech and censorship, Trump's actions often contradict his words. While he champions these principles publicly, his actual behavior often falls short of upholding them. Critics argue that his administration has taken measures that could be perceived as infringing upon free speech, such as attempting to silence critics in the media and online platforms. This apparent discrepancy between rhetoric and action has sparked debate and raised questions about Trump's commitment to the principles he espouses.
Today, I'm directing my administration to explore all regulatory and legislative solutions to protect free speech and the free speech rights of all Americans. We're here to discuss protecting Americans from censorship. The country cannot tolerate political hold the right of free speech. We will always protect free speech. The censorship and bias is a threat to freedom itself, a bedrock of American life. We believe in one that really likes free speech. Censorship. You can't pick one person and say, well, we don't like what he's been saying, he's out.
After delivering numerous speeches advocating against censorship and in favor of free speech, Trump found himself the subject of criticism on Jimmy Kimmel's show, where he was labeled a hypocrite. Despite Trump's vocal stance on these issues, Kimmel highlighted what he saw as inconsistencies between Trump's words and actions, particularly regarding his handling of media and online platforms. By calling out Trump on his perceived hypocrisy, Kimmel added fuel to the ongoing debate surrounding Trump's commitment to the principles he champions in his speeches.
It's almost like he's a hypocrite, you know? What else is a shame? Jim Jordan just had his big congressional hearing on the weaponization of the federal government, and I couldn't be there to testify about a president of the United States who abused his authority to silence someone who disagrees with him and tried to muzzle free speech. I'm so sorry, Jim. I would have been happy to help with that. And as for Trump...
During his presidency, Trump allocated significant attention to issuing threats toward late-night television shows and celebrities over their jokes about him. Despite his portrayal as a famously thin-skinned former game show host, Trump's reactions to criticism often led to public confrontations and clashes with those who mocked him on these platforms. Amidst their ongoing feud, Donald Trump reignited his Oscars spat with Jimmy Kimmel in a recent post on Truth Social, where the former president once again lambasted Kimmel's hosting abilities as horrendous. However, Trump's criticism took an unexpected twist when he mistakenly confused Kimmel with last year's Best Picture presenter, Al Pacino. This latest jab comes amidst Trump's hush money trial in New York City, a trial that Kimmel has been gleefully mocking Trump about all week on his ABC late-night show. Stupid Jimmy Kimmel, who still hasn't recovered from his horrendous performance and big ratings drop as host of the Academy Awards, especially when he showed he suffered from TDS, commonly known as Trump derangement syndrome, to the entire world by reading on air my truth about how bad a job he was doing that night, right before he stumbled through announcing the biggest award of all, Picture of the Year, Trump posted. It was a classic choke, one of the biggest ever in show business, and to top it off, he forgot to say the famous and mandatory line, "And the winner is." Instead, he stammered around as he opened the envelope. During his show, Jimmy Kimmel reportedly referred to someone as a large leprechaun, with speculation suggesting that the target of this remark was Trump. Kimmel humorously suggested that Trump spent his St. Patrick's Day fixated on him, adding another layer of amusement to their ongoing banter. Furthermore, Trump is apparently still stewing over jokes made about him by Kimmel at the Oscars, demonstrating the persistence of their feud.
Large orange leprechaun spent his St. Patrick's Day focused on me, of all people. St. Fatty had an interview with Fox News yesterday, and apparently he's still stewing about a joke I made about him.
You and Jimmy Kimmel, because during the Academy Awards you posted, has there ever been a worse host than Jimmy Kimmel at the Oscars? Less than an average person trying too hard. And he then read that on the air and then took a crack at you. You getting even with him.
And what else did I say? I said some other pretty good things there.
What were you getting even with him
George
for all his anti-Trump jokes?
George Slappadopoulos. Look, Jimmy Kimmel is every night, he hits me, I guess. His ratings are terrible. He's not a talented guy. I hear he hits me all the time, so I figured I'd hit him because I thought he was allowed.
Trump is revisiting a moment from the conclusion of the 2024 Oscars broadcast when Kimmel unexpectedly decided to read Trump's real-time critique of the ceremony aloud. Kimmel swiftly responded live on the Oscars stage, delivering a sharp retort.
Thank you, President Trump. Thank you for watching. I'm surprised you're still... Isn't it past your jail time?
In his latest post, Trump mistakenly attributes a gaffe to Jimmy Kimmel that was actually made by Al Pacino during the presentation of the Oscar for Best Picture. Pacino's mix-up, where he said Oppenheimer instead of the usual "and the Oscar goes to," left viewers puzzled. So, while Trump may believe this blunder was one of the biggest chokes in showbiz history, it's unrelated to the individual he's targeting in his post. Trump just can't seem to let go of Kimmel's Oscars jab. In a Fox News interview right after the ceremony, Trump slammed Kimmel, criticizing him as a lousy host and questioning his talent. Trump didn't stop there. He went on to claim that Kimmel's ABC talk show has terrible ratings.
Shouldn't be surprised. I mean, Donald Trump has said I'm not talented so many times, Erica's starting to get jealous, but What he doesn't realize is that I love this. I love that this bothered him so much. I love that Fox picked a news guy nobody knows to interview him. And I especially love when he tries to spin the fact that everyone was laughing at him into a positive.
The day following the Oscars, Kimmel revealed that he had been cautioned against reading Trump's tirade about the Oscars on stage, but he opted to disregard the advice. Trump, in turn, lambasted Kimmel on Fox News and criticized, suggesting that Kimmel's decision to go viral during the Oscars proved he's dumber than I thought. According to Trump, Kimmel could have sidestepped the attention altogether by simply remaining silent.
Maybe you're right about me being dumb. You know, we should take one of those cognitive tests or an IQ test together, or maybe we could sit down for a long game of Scrabble and find out who has the bigglier brain. I would love that. I would love to do that with you.
Which is on fire, by the way. Truth Social is doing great. I never expected he was going to be reading it just prior to the movie of the year, which is the big one, right? That's the big one. I think they get the man, the woman, now the movie of the year. He reads my truth on air. He reads exactly what you read. And now the big story is that they all begged him not to do it, don't do it. Right. He probably stupidly, you know, he had to act in a short period of time, like minutes, right? He had minutes because he's on air. He sees this thing, and he wants to go out there and he wants to, I guess, confront me in a so. And he ends up reading my truth. I said, this guy's even dumber than I thought. The thing went viral. It's been all over the world now. And all he had to do is keep his mouth shut.
You forget why it went viral all over the world. Thank you for watching. I'm surprised you're still... Isn't it past your jail time? Barbie was laughing at you. Not only were they laughing at you on Oscar Sunday,
Kimmel fired back at Trump, reminding him why the moment went viral globally. He highlighted his punchline, "Isn't it past your jail time?" as the driving force behind its widespread popularity. Kimmel also mentioned the surge in merchandise sales, featuring this anti-Trump catchphrase, proving the impact of his remark.
Now dozens of past your jail time shirts for sale. There are mugs. There are tank tops. There's an "Isn't it past your jail time" backpack. People are writing it outside the Trump Hotel. There are billboards. There are billboards in Pennsylvania, in Florida, and there are a lot more to come, but I kept my mouth shut. Imagine him telling anyone they should have kept their mouth shut. I mean, that should be on his tombstone. Should have kept his mouth shut. And by the way, I'm not... Hey, maybe, you know what? Maybe you're right about me being dumb. You know, we should take one of those cognitive tests or an IQ test together, or maybe we could sit down for a long game of Scrabble and find out who has the bigglier brain. I would love that. I would love to do that with you. But
after poking fun at Trump, Jimmy announced his decision to shift his focus towards more positive endeavors, despite Trump's comedic attempts to get under his skin. Despite Trump's initial jests, there seems to be a silver lining as he later offered some complimentary words for Kimmel in an interview.
Out. And even though I know his intent was to hurt me, I'm going to focus on the positive things he said.
Every night is doing great. He's a talented guy. He's not dumber than I thought.
You know what? It's very big of you to admit that. And I'm sorry I ruined your Sunday night with Melania. I know how many great late-night talks you two have.
Country is being overrun by criminals, by murderers, by drug addicts. They're all coming in through Joe Biden's horrible open border. There's never been a border like this anywhere in the world at any time. He is a disaster as a president. He doesn't understand it. He doesn't understand how bad it is. It's so bad, the whole world is talking about it. There's never been a case like this.
Meanwhile, this is beautiful. He made a big deal in court about how much money he has, about how rich he is. Now the same lawyers have to tell the judge he doesn't have enough money to cover the judgment against him. Trump's lawyers today told the court they can't find anyone to put up the $454 million bond he needs to cover what he owes the state of New York. They say they approached around 30 bond companies. None of them would do business with him. Listen, there are very fine people on both sides of the bloodbath. The truth is, the context we should be considering isn't whether or not Trump meant bloodbath literally. What we should is that he's such a lunatic, we actually have to debate if he meant it literally. We have to ask, was that totally crazy or just kind of crazy? Then Trump went off on Joe Biden, who he would like us to believe has mobilized a team of law enforcement officials against him.
Justice Department, the FBI, to go after his political opponent happens to be me. How are we doing? And he's driven my numbers through the roof. Do it one or two more times. How about a couple of more indictments, Joe, you dumb son of a...
While the clip of Jimmy Kimmel roasting Donald Trump seems to grab attention, let's take a step back and think about what it means. When big names like these clash, it's not just about the laughs. It's about how their words shape our conversations and views on politics. Well, that was quite the showdown, huh? It's like watching a real-life drama unfold, with twists and turns at every corner. Whether you're Team Trump or Team Kimmel, one thing's for sure. This feud is far from over. Who knows what's next in this roller coaster of a saga? Stay tuned for more drama. That's all for today. Make sure to share your thoughts in the comments below. For more updates, hit the bell icon.